Up next, we're talking to Luis Serrano, a Latino American, who's going to talk to us about what it's like to hear all of the myths surrounding Latinos, and he's also going to talk to us about the LGBTQ population here in Eastern North Carolina.
Welcome to the newest dialogue in politics, community news, human interest stories, entertainment, and information from Eastern North Carolina. Janet Conner-Knox is an award-winning journalist with more than 25 years' experience in print, radio, and television. This is Talking with Janet.
We're here with Luis Serrano. Am I saying your name correctly? You have the wonderful heritage of being Latino here in this country, and you get a chance to hear people who are running for office talk about Latinos in a negative way. Criminality, stealing jobs, not documented, and obviously here to commit crimes. What do you think that's really all about?
When my parents came here, they first came here illegally. So they came here because they wanted the American dream. And at first, when I was growing up, I was like, well, why is it that it's so easy for me to cross the border, but so hard for them? And then if they take us, that means since they're not citizens, they have to, it would be much difficult for them to come back. But I can come back easily with a guardian or someone that had basically custodial over me. But my family, since we were always very close, and they always grew up on being like literally in everybody's business. They did not want to let us as kids come to the States by ourselves. They wanted to be the whole little family together, whether they were in Mexico, whether they were here in the States. So then one of the most amazing things that I honestly think that and I think the only amazing thing that Ronald Reagan did was when the amnesty was opened, and actually my parents could actually file to become permanent residents.
So tell me, what is it like when your family is undocumented? Because we don't say illegal aliens anymore, thank goodness. I'm not sure how young you were, but what is it like when you know that your family is undocumented and there might be a knock at the door? Are you guys always living in fear?
Oh, yes, there is. I remember that, in my household, I remember that my father and my mother tried their best not to do anything to break any type of rule, any type of law, or nothing like that, because anything like that will automatically send a red flag, and that will cause like questions and, okay, well, what is, show me your ID, show me your driver license, or something like that. And if they didn't have it, that was a one-way ticket, either to be deported. And luckily, when I was growing up, my family was not they were not under that big of a fear, because they were very quiet people. They never went out. As a matter of fact, we never ever took trips as kids. We always did confined within the home and school.
But isn't that a little too much? Were you even able to go to church?
Well, we will go to local stuff that they felt safe, because it's kind of only places that you felt safe was the only place that we can go. Like churches, even though they were not really religious, but they will send us as kids to church because they wanted us to be brought up in the Christian way. And since they didn't know that much about Christianity when we were growing up, they were just like, well, if we don't know it, at least let's send our kids. And they found this one amazing lady that I cannot remember her name right now, but she used to come and pick us up every Sunday and take us to church.
There's always amazing ladies like that. Were you in the South?
Yes.
Well, there's 100 ladies like that.
Best way to bribe was with cookies. Fresh cookies was the best way to bribe me.
That's hysterical. So they had cookies, and so you were ready to go to church. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, please. Just make sure that,
Well, I know someone who was one of the executive producers of the show who also went to church because of the food. Remember that? Anyway, so you're not alone. a lot of children go to church for food.
Oh, okay. Well, but when it comes down to like the feeling safe and always watching like for that knock on the door, it for me myself because I knew I was a citizen since I was a kid, and since I knew what was good and what was wrong, I knew that I had an upper hand. So, but I did not know that my cousins, for instance, like some of my cousins or some of my uncles and relatives, they did not have that same upper hand. They were they were afraid of even going to the supermarket. So that's why they were even, back in the day, there was this in the town that I used to live in, they had this one Latino supermarket, and that was the one that was bustling with Latinos, because that was the only one where the Latinos felt safe that they would not, get deported or not. I was like, but
So they live a very fearful life. So let's fast forward to 2016. They're undocumented workers here now. They want to work.
Like when it comes down to here, like you said, fast forward into 2016. One thing I have noticed that especially in the Latino community that I know, that are actually my friends, that and I grew up with, that even though they're not citizens, they will still come back to the States and try to, or either some of them have been here ever since we were kids, try to come here to make a better life. But when they come here, since they're not U.S. citizens, the only jobs that are available are the jobs that really I don't think any citizen would like to do. Even myself as a citizen want to do. I mean, I used to do it as a kid, working in the fields and picking up cucumber and all that stuff, but I did that as a summer job. But to do it as a day in and day out job, and that's my only job I have to work with, it's kind of like cruel, especially with this heat. I mean, I cannot even walk outside, like from my car into the building I work in, because that one short period of time from my car to the door of the building I work in, that is an air-conditioned building, I'm sweating by the time I'm leaving my car to that building. So just think about it, if you were out there for 8 hours or more, out in that extremely heated environment. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I feel that it's very important that we know how to appreciate the people that actually does that kind of stuff, because God forbid if we were to lose that kind of worker that actually does that for a living, the price of food and the price of produce and everything around the country will go up.
We're going to come right back and we'll include how Latinos were chased out in Alabama and the crops weren't collected and they've lost hundreds of millions of dollars. We'll talk about that when we get back with Talking with Janet Lewis SERRANO.
Growing up can be a challenge.
Tiffany and Jasmine are here. Did you not see the dirty looks that they were giving you?
Yeah, but they're still our friends, right?
I need to tell you something. Your little girlfriend, her father's in prison.
What? You get a date to the dance?
Yeah, man, obviously. Who do you think I am?
I wrote your sister a note, and I asked her, does she like me? And what box did she check?
You're friends, you know that, right?
Yeah, friends.
Come on, Mickey, where are you?
I'm coming. Hey, baby.
No.
What's wrong?
I'm starting to think you don't understand what it means for me to be your man.
Look, I just got you a gift.
You don't listen. I already got this one. I told you to get something brand new.
I'm sorry, Sarah. Please, I'm sorry.
Get in the car.
And we're back with Lewis. When we hear the comments that people have to say about Latinos, we hear about them taking away money because of Medicaid. We hear about them taking away jobs. We hear about again, the third thing, the criminality part, those things are just not true. Am I correct?
Well, honestly, it's not, because in order for you to qualify for the Medicaid system, you have to be a U.S. citizen, and that's number one. Because if they get any type of Medicaid help, it's for their kids, not for them. So that's one of the things. Now, when they say about coming here to take their jobs away, my thing is like, think about it. Would you really yourself as a citizen are willing to work outside in the field? Like I said earlier, me myself as a U.S. citizen, I used to do it as a summer job, but I cannot do it.
How much should you make?
Actually, I was one of the, because I was working as a summer job, I was giving out chips. So my thing was like, I was making like $6 an hour. But that was a flat rate for me. Like, but the, when they work, when the Latinos work in the fields, for, like, let's say based on their production or productivity, I know that without the fact that if you're younger, like let's say from 16 to 35 or 40, you can actually, you will make more productivity, because, and what I mean by that is that they will give you like a 50-pound or 45-pound bucket, and you'll fill it up with cucumbers or either bell peppers or sweet potatoes or whatever the farmer had. And once you turn in that bucket, and it gets dumped into a big gaylord, what they do, they will give you a little chip. The chip will be the equivalent of like 35 cents or 40 cents. So if you are a young individual, you will be, I would assume that it would be more easier and more productive for you to get as much as possible.
So if you have a sick day, you don't feel well, what happens then?
But if you have a sick day or if you don't feel well, that means you don't get paid for that day. So either, I know people that they have high fevers and everything, but because they need the money, they will be out there working in the field still. Like another thing, like the bad advantage, the disadvantage that people have, like especially if you're elderly, let's say from 40 to, not that I'm saying that 40 is elderly, but
my eyebrow just went up because he said 40 years old.
But in the Latino world, since they work mainly outside, the majority of the time the sun wears out the body really, really bad, and especially that type of work wears it off even worse. So my thing is like, if you are from 40 to let's say 60, your productivity will not be the equivalent of the younger person.
Not the 16-year-old.
No, because that means you will be moving faster and everything, and you will have to, walk your way to the gaylord, dump it, and by the end of the day, you probably will make half of that compared to what the 16 or 30-year-old person did. So, I mean, the one thing I can say is that I think that a U.S. citizen will not make it out there to work like, oh, if you really want that job, try it for one day. One day. I'm just saying just one day to be out there getting muddy, messing up your nice clothes that you have to wash over and over because those are the only pair of shoes that you can afford or the only clothes. Now, one of the biggest things that I know that a lot of people will say that, oh, they don't pay taxes. Oh, but Latinos do pay taxes. But the thing is with that is that when they say we don't pay taxes, we pay taxes when it comes down to groceries. We pay taxes on that. We pay taxes on gas for our cars. We pay taxes on our cell phone bills. Anything that we have a bill to pay for, we pay our taxes on it. Now, also, one of the biggest things I can say is that when the end of the year comes, when it's refund season, how do you think that, how can people say that, oh, but they don't pay taxes, but what happened to all that taxes you give in as you pay for stuff? And no, the majority of the Latinos, if you really pay attention, they will pay cash. They will not pay using a credit card. So I'm thinking they have probably the best credit ever. Because, I mean, they're the only people that, if they have the money, they will buy it.
It's all going by, Louis, just stay put, just one more segment. It's all going by a lot faster. It's such an interesting topic. When we get back, Louis will be talking with us about more of the myths that a lot of Americans have when it pertains to Latinos and Latino Americans, and he is openly gay, and we'll be talking to us about issues with the LGBTQ population here in the United States. We'll be right back. Talking with Janet. Brotherside Entertainment, LLC. Multiple award-winning, multifaceted, specializing in film, television, stage, new media, special events, sports, industrials, training videos, commercials, PSAs, and more. We produce unique, fresh, stand-out material that entertains, enlightens, inspires, and empowers. We expose people from all walks of life to untold stories, taboo topics, and colorful characters through the arts. We produce original content, and we are also ready to help you bring your project to life. Our prices are competitive. Creative and technical challenges can make or break a project. Our team is comprised of lauded filmmakers, actors, and musicians with a combined 20 years of field and academic training. Our work has garnered official selections and commendations at local and international film festivals. We aim to break down the walls that stand between you and your dreams. Visit us now at BrothersideENT.com, on Twitter at BrothersideENT, and on Facebook at Brotherside Entertainment.
You cannot be afraid, especially when it comes down to voting, because, and especially like in these elections, the Latinos have to know that their vote is really important. It's not only like, it's not something that it's like, it's just another vote. No. If you are a U.S. citizen and if you can vote as a Latino, you have to vote because you're voting not for yourself. You're voting for your brother, for your cousins, for your mom, for your grandparents, the ones that don't have a voice here. You are their voice. So that's a very strong vote, even though it's a singular vote. But by you taking that action and actually voting, that's a vote that counts, perhaps greater than any other vote, because you are bringing your vote is counting everyone that you love that cannot speak for themselves.
We're back with Louis Serrano. We're talking with Janet. Louis, you are an openly gay man here, and I am sure that being in the Bible Belt, it makes it extremely interesting for you. Just recently with the Florida shootings, I'm wondering, when you heard about that, did you think it could have very easily have been you?
Oh, indeed I did, because actually that same evening, I was actually with a bunch of my friends at this gay club, and that was the night. That was the night that we woke up to the next morning, basically, to hearing this horrific news, and I was thinking to myself, oh my God, that could have been us, because I was just there with a bunch of my heterosexual friends and my gay friends, and it just shocked me, because I was like, I thought we were already past this, but apparently we're not, and to be honest, it was really mind-blowing, because the next morning I just couldn't believe it, and then I called my friends, and it just made you realize that it can happen to this day anywhere, basically. So I was just like lucky that, it was lucky that I was with my friends, but it didn't happen to us, but it was unfortunate that it happened to the people, anybody at all, especially just out of pure hate, because that right there is just one thing that we have to really work on our...
What do you think people are so afraid of when they find out someone is homosexual? What's your idea of why people are so afraid?
Well, honestly, I do not know how to answer that one, and like for other people, but I will answer it from my point of view and the little bit I know, because I have been working with a lot of people, actually, at the job that I work for, that were very anti-gay. But once they got to know me, they got to know a Louis that really actually cares for them, cares for their family, and someone that is not always, because I think the biggest thing for, especially a male heterosexual, is that they think that that just because we're gay, or you're gay, that you're trying to get in their pants. But I'm like, wait a minute, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, first of all, I would tell them, I'll be, first of all,
not interested in you.
I have standards, I'm sorry, gay people, we have standards, and I don't want to be, a total B, but I would let you know that I strongly believe of not basically doing something at work, not jeopardizing my job due to just a desire. Because if a desire can get anywhere, but the thing is that don't mix your personal stuff with work.
They were a little homophobic. What did they do? Did they just like ignore you, not sit with you at lunch, bring you the Bible? What did they do?
Well, with the women, it was very easy for me to get along with. Only a handful was like very religious women. For gay men, it's like we're like magnets to them.
For makeup tips.
Oh, all the time. And I'm like, really? I was like, you're supposed to know this more than I do. But the thing is that with work, I mean, there was a lot of like teasing, a lot of talking behind your back, making jokes, and even though I could not hear them from a distance. But you can tell when they're talking about you, especially when they cannot stop staring at you or laughing in front of laughing as they look at you walk by.
So how does that make you feel? You're there to do your work. You're a professional. You just want to do your work, and people are laughing at you. You're the jerk.
It's funny that you mentioned that because actually, when I first started there, people actually thought I wasn't going to make it in that company. They thought that I was probably going to be there like a year or a year and a half tops, and that's it. The people that used to, I've been working for the same company for almost 15 years. And it's so funny that you mentioned that because actually the people that used to make fun of me and everything are the ones that left. They did not make it. They were the ones that were like, oh, he's not going to make it. But now, within the course of the years, I've proven myself that I come there to do my job, not to be advertising what I do or don't do outside of work. So my thing is like when I come to work, I come to do my job, my duty that I come to do there. So once my managers saw that, they were like, you know what? Even though Louis is gay and everything, but he's doing his stuff way much better than you guys that are seasoned operators that have been here for years. Mm-hmm. So by me proving myself, that basically is kind of like a slap to them.
Did you have to work harder because you are openly gay? Did you have to prove yourself that I can be gay and professional?
In the beginning, I did. Because I was trying to let them know that no matter what, even though I'm gay, that doesn't mean that I'm weak. Because we are not weak. We're just better and we are multitasking. We're better on both worlds. Like they can give me a question I can do any manly thing out there. Because Lord knows I have been working even in construction and anything like that. I mean, everything like that I have been doing. But when it comes down to the female side, I can relate to them because the one thing that a lot of heteros don't get, especially the males, is like that a woman wants someone that will listen.
You're so right.
And gay men, we're ready there to listen with the cocktail by our sides. Like, come on, girl, let's talk. Let's see what we can figure this out together. And if not, we're at least gonna get drunk on this and go from there.
So let's talk about religion. Let's go straight to religion. And I'm sure that people have come to you and told you were going straight to hell. And, as a matter of fact, when I did some stories about gay rights and about gay people, and they told me I was going to hell just because I wrote the stories. And these are great Christians with no forgiveness in their hearts, it seems.
Or as they would say, unless you change. But my thing is, like, to answer that question is that, honestly, I haven't had a lot of people do that. I'm not going to lie, even my own mother at one point thought that I was gonna go straight to hell because she's a Pentecostal holiness, and Lord knows I think that's the most tough religion out there. But one thing I can say to myself is that, to answer your question, is that a lot of people would say like the gay, if you're gay, you're gonna go straight to hell and all that stuff. But I'm like, what about the stuff that you do? Like for instance, having children out of wedlock, or either like in the Bible clearly states that if a married couple, if you're married to your wife as a male, if a man and a woman is married, if the woman is on her cycle, they cannot even sleep in the same house. So how is it okay for you to break that rule that is like, oh, that's nothing compared, but to you it's nothing, but oh, it's a big deal if I'm gay? Or better yet, how can you say that I'm going to go straight to hell when also in the Bible says that you cannot be wearing two types of materials of clothing? But yet again, you're wearing silk over here and regular khakis or jeans underneath. I was like, how is that? Or you can, eat shrimp or shellfish or something like that, and I'm like, and you're judging me. So I was like, I think the only thing is that for a lot of people that actually think that way, is that they're just quick to judge people based on something that is a sin, but really it's just, or if it were to be a sin, it's no different than theirs.
So when you're talking about, as we talk about people, or young people who are questioning their sexuality, and they fall under the category of LGBTQ, there's so many who don't know what to do, and that they don't know where to go. And so, Louis, if you could tell us, what would you say to a young person who might be looking right now, and they're contemplating suicide, they don't feel there's any way out? What would you tell them?
What I would say is that never give up hope. There is always someone out there that will actually be there for you. There are, if you look it up online, I do not know none of the top of my head, especially right now, but if you look up online, there is help for you. You're not alone. There will be support. There's no need for an individual to commit suicide due to a fact that they feel that they're not loved, because there is community out there that's going to welcome you with open arms. And they will support you and actually help you to grow and get out of that depression. Because people that think about the suicidal stuff, it's because they get to a point that they feel that they're not loved by their family. And by that, then they get depressed. And when they get depressed, the negative stuff starts to build in your head. And my biggest thing is, like, you're not alone. Don't ever think that you're alone, because there is help out there. And if you, in times like this, people that, if you're just coming out, the people that stick with you after you tell them, those are friends. People that actually care for you from the beginning, and they don't really care about who you are or what you do. They care about you. And that's the type of people you have to surround yourself with. Don't surround yourself with negative people.
Well, I want to thank Louis for being here today and talking with us on these sensitive topics. One that causes Americans to, a lot of cases, get into arguments about the rights of people who come to this country to try to make a better life, which, whether their ancestry is from Europe or Asia or South America, it's all the same. I think African Americans are the only ones who don't have that in their heritage since we were brought here. But everyone tries to come to America for a better way of life, and we'd like to thank Louis for coming here and talking with us about that. And one of the things that Louis said before he came in, he said, it seems the browner you are, the more likely Americans are not to want you to immigrate into the country. And in addition to that, about the LGBTQ community in this area, we thank you. We urge you to go out and register and vote and know who it is before November gets here. You can figure out who these candidates are, what they have to say, what you agree with. Those are the people that you vote for. Vote for them and then hold them accountable. Thank you once again for taking your time to look at Talking with Janet. Thank you, Louis. Thank you. We'll see you next time. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on Talking with Janet, please contact us by email, brothersideent@gmail.com. Leave your name and contact information. Without that, your guest will not be considered.
This has been a Brotherside Entertainment production.